Today is a very, very special occasion as we celebrate our decade-long partnership with Berklee College of Music, and we come together to introduce the GMI-Berklee Track. GMI and Berklee, we share a global vision for music and arts education, and we are so grateful to have Berklee as our partner in this endeavor. Today, we have some amazing musicians and educators joining us. Please help me welcome Jason Camilio from Boston. He is the Assistant Vice President of Global Initiatives at Berklee, an amazing trombonist, writer, and producer. He is one of the key persons that has led this movement of our partnership. And Jason, it's just been so wonderful working with you over the years. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
We have with us Eleonora Bianchini, all the way from Rome. She's an amazing vocalist, songwriter, and educator. She was faculty at GMI last year. She's also a Berklee alum. She is just a fantastic musician, and I was so fortunate to play some shows with her as well. And it's just been great knowing you and having to work with you, Eleonora. Thank you for being with us.
It's a very big pleasure for me sharing this time with you, with all of you guys. And thank you, Adi, for the opportunity of teaching at GMI.
We also have our alumni with us. We are so proud to see how well they're doing now. We have Dhruv joining us from LA. It's super, super early for him. And I promised him a big, big bag of coffee to make up for this. He's a composer, music producer, and vocalist. Thank you, Dhruv, for joining us today.
Absolutely, my pleasure. My pleasure. Good fun to and also see all friends and familiar faces. Yeah, really good. Also, I'm very slow, so I'm gonna.
All right, have your coffee.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah, power up. All right, we have Aman Sagar, amazing guitar player and singer-songwriter, one of my favorites from India. He's a Boston-based artist and producer. He's joining us from New York. Thanks, Aman, for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And we have our very, very special guest for today, a surprise, special person, Annette Phillip, who's joined us.
Oh.
Annette, hi Annette. So Annette is, there's a long list of all her accolades. She's a vocalist, producer, educator. She's the artistic director of Berklee India Exchange. She's also the founder of Berklee India Ensemble, and those of you know Artists Unlimited. She is the founding member of that. How many things have you founded, Annette? Like it's a long list. So it's just been so amazing knowing you over the years and getting the opportunity to work with you. And the Berklee India connection wouldn't have been the same without you. So thank you so much for all your hard work and being with us today.
I think all kudos to you and the whole Balani family. I feel like all that you've done all these years. This is just such a significant day. So just very, very grateful and humbled to be here. Yay for you all.
And obviously, my brother Tarun Balani, an amazing drummer and composer. He's the co-founder of GMI, my partner in crime. When we founded GMI so many years ago, I'd like to invite him now to take us through a little bit of the history of GMI, how it all began for us, and how the journey has been for us over the years.
Absolutely. Thanks, Adi, and everyone that's here. It's such a special day for us. Jason, Eleonora, Aman, Dhruv, Annette, and especially Adi. It's just so nice that this day has finally come. This celebrates a decade-long partnership with Berklee College of Music. And also around the same time, actually, 10 years ago is when I rang Adi on a Skype call. And I was like, I'm graduating, coming back home very soon. And whilst we were at Berklee, we were engaging with the young music community back in India and in Delhi, teaching and sharing whatever knowledge that we were able to. We were privileged enough to gain at Berklee with our peers, our friends, the bands we were playing with. And we were like, I was like, Adi, do you think we should make this a little bit more formal? And maybe we should set up something so that There is a sense of community, and what we've been doing over the years can be done in a more structured and can have a format. And I'm so grateful that just throughout the years, just as my brother, and being a just being there to hear my ideas and thoughts. Adi was like, this is something that I think we should absolutely do, and I'm so glad that we joined forces to do this, because where we are today is something that I had only dreamt of and imagined, and I had no idea that this would actually be possible and it can happen. And the fact that we are here today, it's really actually overwhelming for me, because there are just certain dreams and visions that you see, and don't realize that it can actually happen. And also I want to say a big thank you to Jason, because uh, the second conversation I had was with Jason actually over a scoop of ice cream at Berklee. And Jason was super supportive, and as always, being so kind and lending his ears, and also his support and giving us, some stepping stones and ideas to how to build on this idea. And the basic premise of GMI was to provide music education that was accessible, affordable, and also mainly providing an Indian context for the students here in South Asia, and mainly for India. Because when we look at arts education from across the world, I think they have a context of number one, that this is a career in the performing arts. This is how you approach it. You have performing arts high schools, you have educators, and there is a systematic way and a path that you can follow. But in India, we do have a very, very rich tradition of Indian classical music and Carnatic music. But when it comes to contemporary music, we don't really have an organized or a formal structure where a student or a young musician or an aspirant can actually follow a path and reach their goals. So I'm really, really grateful that we were able to establish that, and we would work very hard to continue to do so. And we started at a very small scale, in a small basement, actually. It was our first campus. And another founding principle of GMI was to also build a sense of community, where no matter what genre, what style, what background you came from, that basement actually became sort of a melting pot of a lot of music in the city that started to happen and across India. And just from the get-go, thanks to the support we had from Jason and Berklee, we from our first semester, we had faculty coming in from Berklee College of Music. So one of my teachers, Bruno Rayberg, he was actually one of the first international faculty that we had at GMI. And also my band member and our colleague, Sharik Hassan, who's also an alumni from Berklee College of Music. So those were the stepping stones of the idea and the establishment of GMI. And at the heart of it, like I said, it was more to just build a community where people could really feel a sense of belonging. Because like I said, the music industry, even now, is quite fragmented. There's a lot of amazing work happening in the Tamil industry, or there's the Bollywood scene, then there's the independent music industry. But we just wanted to sort of build a space where people could really have a sense of belonging and feel that, yes, this is where they can learn and follow their dreams. And when I look back now at my crazy 25-year-old self, I probably would not do the same thing again, because I know what kind of a backbreaking process it was. And Adi will, affirm this, that just moving from the campus in Lajpat Nagar and getting a 2-acre residential state-of-the-art facility in Greater Noida was probably one of the hardest things we've done, not only just as individuals, but also as a family.
Right.
It was really, really difficult for us. But days like these, and Adi's going to play a video which he just tested, and we saw so many smiling faces in those videos, and just the vibe that is at GMI, I think that just makes it truly worthwhile. And when I see some of those things, I feel like it is, and of course it is totally worth it. And no matter what you envision to do, if you can just go for it, and if you are privileged enough to have support, like I see on the screen right now, whether it's Annette people like Dhruv, who's going to speak later, Eleonora, Aman, and Jason, and of course, my partner in crime, Adi. It is truly valuable and worth it. And I hope we can make a humble contribution to music education in India and across the world. And that's basically the idea behind Global Music Institute.
Wow, thanks for sharing that, Tarun. It was beautifully put. Um, Jason, again, you've been so monumental in making this happen. And I, as Tarun was remembering, even I was remembering a scene earlier from that actually, Tarun, when we were planning our India tour, we had written some music and we wanted to kind of have a tour where we could do some workshops and clinics and also play our music and you know kind of dive into this scene in India. And Jason and we all sat. We had a sort of lunch meeting near this restaurant in near the fire. Uh, yeah, and then Jason was hearing all the ideas, and I thought he's not gonna take this seriously. I don't think he's gonna, you know, he's be like, yeah, whatever, these kids. But it was amazing that he actually, you know, took that forward with us and supported us from right from there. And you know, it's just been a great journey. So Jason, it'd be great if you could share with us how it's been for you, you know, coming to India and bringing this the Berklee exchange to India, and then how it's kind of, you know, work for you individually and as Berklee.
Yeah, well, thanks again. It's really an honor to be here with all of you, and it's really important to share this with our audience. We can't overstate the amount of work that's been done by all of these people on the call, starting with folks like you, Annette, and Adi and Tarun. You know, you were, you know, this sort of the vanguard, if you will, of the musicians in India that took on the challenge to leave your country, come to the United States, and come to Berklee, of all places, and to study, to, you know, to build on what you'd already done as artists and as musicians. And then you've all taken it, including, you know, Eleanor and Aman and Dhruv, to the world. You are what we say Berklee is. You know, it's esquam videre, right? It's, you know, to be, not seem to be. And that's what's really an important thing to communicate to the audience is this is the real deal. When you came to us with this idea of like taking a, you know, I remember exactly, you said, we want to take some students from the United States to India so they can experience the culture and they can share their music. And that is basically what we do in global initiatives. We bring Berklee to the world, we bring the world to Berklee. And through that, things evolve over time, and we see what the potential is. I mean, Berklee is all about potential. You know, if you already had all the magic stuff and skill, you wouldn't need to come to a place like Berklee. But it's that incubator, it's that environment. You want to come and be in Annette's ensemble or study with her privately. You want to have the opportunity to study with Berklee alums all over the world, and you want, ideally, you know, Dhruv to interview you and hire you at some point, right? So, you know, that's where it began. And where it's gone is, you know, you both set up a space for Berklee to land, to connect in India. And that was critical for us because it allowed us to learn. You know, it allowed Berklee to learn. It allowed me to learn as a person working in higher education and the arts, as well as a musician. And all of the people that we've brought, staff members, faculty members, administrators, have all had the experience through you and through GMI to connect. And then all of the alumni, and Eleonora, you can talk about this, I think, soon. The experience to actually go and live abroad and teach and work with young musicians is something that it's invaluable. And so GMI creates this space for that to happen, and altogether the level of everything rises. And the results have been Aman and Dhruv. Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do globally. We are trying to bring the level up. So, you know, Tarun, the things that you talked about, creating the community, right? Doing it at a super high level and connecting people to the world. That is what GMI is about. And you became Berklee Global Network partners, and we've worked with you and done, you know, great master classes and concerts and events. We've seen, you know, you evolve, and we've seen, you know, dozens of students from GMI come to Berklee and be successful, including full tuition scholarship recipients. And that's no small feat. of the thousands of people that will apply to Berklee every year to receive a full tuition scholarship it's incredible. And that means that the training is there, the commitment from the students and the passion is there. And those are all critical things that are the ingredients for the making of something really special. GMI has gone even further because you began to adopt what you learned in the teaching methodology in your curriculum. So you're blending what you've learned at Berklee, but also through your exposure to music growing up in India, and you've created this unique place of learning at GMI. And that's where the global partnership, the academic partnership comes into place. So later on, I'm sure in this session, and then if you're any of you that are on the call, you're going to want to get on social media and follow GMI. You're going to want to get on their mailing list to learn about the credit transfer agreement, the academic partnership. When you go and study and enroll in the Berklee Track at GMI, when you complete that program and you get accepted to Berklee, you're going to be able to transfer those credits to Berklee. There's only 25 institutions on the planet that are allowed to do that. And there's only one in India. So this is something that is critical, to think of as you're planning, your career. If Berklee is in that path for you, if you decide that Berklee is a place to go and you're looking for really detailed preparation, you're looking for an environment and a community to build your skills, GMI is the place that you need to look at to start and grow. And then when you do get accepted to Berklee, the credit transfer agreement will detail what classes you can transfer in. You're going to save money on your overall cost for an education. You're going to have that preparation. You're going to be working with Berklee alums who can really tell you about, how to connect into, the Berkosphere, that environment, and take full advantage of it, which is critical. And we know, based on our alums that are here, what that looks like. We know what success looks like from the people that have gone through this path. So that's what the partnership is, and it fits into the larger concept. Annette and I work together. We work in a special team at Berklee called Global Strategy and Innovation. And our team is connected with all of our global partners. Our new space in Abu Dhabi, the Berklee Abu Dhabi Center, the new campus that's opening up in New York City, Berklee NYC and the Power Station, and as well as our Valencia campus. So GMI fits into that constellation of opportunity. And that's why this is a serious thing for you to consider. And it's 10 years, but we're just getting started.
Right.
So thank you for everything. And I'm really looking forward to all the things we're going to do together as we continue.
Thank you, Jason. I totally resound that. And, I think it would be great if we can, I think once we show the video, then everybody can sort of see, what we did is we went back and picked some highlights from our partnership and all the sessions that, they've brought to India. It was, a great sort of experience to relive that memory for us, and we'd love to share that with you. And we've also received some wonderful messages from key leadership at Berklee, because, this is not a singular initiative. So many people need to be involved and need to have a vision for this to happen. And we are ever so grateful for everybody who's played their part in this mission. So I'd now like to play some of those video messages, and then we're going to go into the sort of reel we've cut together, and then we'll be back after that.
Hi, I'm Damien Bracken, Dean of Admissions at Berklee College of Music. I'm delighted to welcome GMI as an academic partner with the college. India's rich cultural and musical heritage has become an integral part of our global community here in Boston. So we're excited to work with GMI to help young musicians realize the dream of attending Berklee College of Music. Congratulations, GMI.
Hi, this is Maria Iturriaga. I am the Executive Director of Berklee's campus in Valencia, Spain. I would like to extend a big congratulations to the Global Music Institute, GMI, and its founders, Aditya and Tarun Balani, and their entire team for the extraordinary job they have done all of these years in creating such a fantastic learning environment and for the programs that they have developed, attracting students from all around the world. Here at Berklee Valencia, we're very proud to be collaborators and to have our graduate alumni be part of GMI's faculty body. We look very much forward to continuing this collaboration and partnership, and I wish you all the best in this new academic year and look forward to many more years of partnership to come. Congratulations and thank you for all the great work you have done. Gracias.
Hi, my name is Matthew Nickel, and I'm the Dean of the Professional Writing and Music Technology Division at Berklee College of Music. I'd like to congratulate the team at the Global Music Institute in India as they become an academic partner with Berklee. This is quite an achievement, and it's the result of a long period of careful planning and development. I first visited GMI in 2015. Kim Perlak of the guitar department and I presented clinics and auditioned students at GMI's facility in New Delhi. At the end of the trip, Aditya and Tarun took us to the site of their new campus, and we saw the foundation of the new building there. When I returned in 2018 with Rick Peckham, also from the guitar department, we visited the finished campus, a wonderful building purpose-built for music instruction. Now, as GMI becomes an academic partner with Berklee, we are entering a new phase in our relationship. So to Aditya, Tarun, and the whole team at GMI, I'd like to say welcome and congratulations.
Hi, I'm Kim Perlak. I'm the chair of the guitar department at Berklee College of Music. Congratulations, GMI, on becoming a Berklee Global Academic Partner. This means that all the students that go to GMI will be able to transfer credits to Berklee and Boston, and we're looking forward to seeing you. Of course, GMI has a great place in our heart in the guitar department because one of the co-founders is our guitar alum. So visiting GMI for me was like going to visit extended family. It felt like that right away. When I got to my clinic, there were about 200 guitar players waiting. And my great memory of that is that one of them got into the sound check. And as I was sound checking, I noticed he was sitting there with his acoustic guitar out. I was setting up with my classical guitar. And he had a Pink Floyd t-shirt on. So I started playing Wish You Were Here. And he started playing with me. And as we traded, he moved up closer and closer to the stage until he was on the stage. And by the time everyone else came in, he and I were playing. And we opened the clinic together. And I think that's just a great representation of the kind of work we're going to do together, that we're all connected through the guitar, and we're all one big Berklee family. So, congratulations again, GMI, and I look forward to visiting again and to seeing all of the students here in Boston.
So that was a little bit of a
Wow.
video montage and brings back so many wonderful memories. And again, as Jason and everybody said, that it encapsulates the ethos of, how we, create this partnership. And it's just been amazing to have worked with all these educators over the years. Now, I'd like to invite Annette to come and share her ideas about this. In the thing, like, you remember, Annette, like this morning, I got a message from her at 5 a.m. and I was like, okay, she's like, there was some scheduling things we were working on, and initially she wasn't able to make it for this call, and then she messaged me, you know what, I think I can do it now. I was like, okay. I called her right away in the morning. I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's have you here, because again, you've played a huge role in this connection. Again, as artists, we've collaborated so much, and there have been so many paths that have circled for all of us together. And again, you have been such an integral person in this, so would love to hear your views on this.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. First of all, that video just made me smile because there's so many faces there that we all recognize. And also, Jason, you had hair back then. And it was, I was like, wow, yes, 10 years ago. It is really, really such an honor to be here today as Berklee and GMI come together to announce this GMI-Berklee track. And it's exciting. It's the beginning of a whole new chapter, not only for our two institutions, but also for musicians of all ages and backgrounds to benefit from this partnership. And, you know, as Jason said, as Adi and Tarun said, and as you've seen, you know, from even the video messages, this is the result of many, many years, a decade long of hard work, sincere effort. And I have to say, from GMI's side specifically, consistent and continual progress. So massive congratulations to Aditya, Tarun, Megha, the entire GMI team. I'm so proud. This is really significant. And I also kind of feel like both my families are uniting in some way. So Adi, Tarun, and I go back a long way to our college years in Delhi University and with Artists Unlimited and various bands. And then again at Berklee's Boston campus, where our Berklee student journeys overlapped. And when we were growing up in India, as Tarun said earlier, you know, there were exceptional musicians back home, but there wasn't really access to formal global music education, especially if you were looking at contemporary music education from around the world. And I remember having this instinct about Berklee, but it still took me 2 years to A, get permission from my parents to attend, even though I was a full-time musician, and B, work really hard towards a scholarship. Plus, when I got there, I didn't have a clue about what Berklee would be like. And I'm sure that, you know, Adi and Tarun, when you got there as well, it was just this, you know, parallel dimension, alternate universe, and, you know, you're trying to figure out how to do things. So a decade ago, when Aditya and Tarun shared the news that they had this dream to open a music school, immediately I felt, wow, A, this is so courageous. It's such a beautiful idea. And this is going to be a gift to our community. And had a place like GMI already existed, when I was struggling way back and, you know, wondering and have had all these questions, I think life would have been very different. And GMI specifically is very special. What I've seen in the work that you all have done is always, you know, consistently intention, care, sincerity, passion, dedication. And I remember attending a vocal session at their old campus in Lajpat Nagar. And it was in that basement that Tarun was talking about. And one thing I'll always remember was the vibe. I think it was pretty much every serious vocalist in Delhi in that hall. The energy was palpable. It was so powerful. It was so hot as well. And at the same time, it was worth it. You know, that kind of energy doesn't just happen on its own. You have to create it. And I think GMI has done that every year with every event that they've done. They've designed the spaces that they create in. They've built a community that makes it safe for you to grow and evolve, and most importantly, feel safe to express yourself. And I've heard the same thing from Berklee alumni who've taught at GMI. And I've found that GMI students who've come to Berklee have definitely had an edge. And I mean, there's two amazing examples here today, Dhruv and Aman, both of whom not only had an incredible career at Berklee, but also beyond what they're doing today. I mean, they're just shining stars of, you know, of GMI and of Berklee, and they are really forging their own path. And I think that for all, you know, all musicians who are really invested in this idea of studying music seriously, what this GMI-Berklee track is going to do, just like Jason said, is create access and opportunity. It opens up a lot of avenues and creates multiple pathways to exceptional contemporary music education. And of course, again, as Jason said, who's been pivotal in all this happening, from a financial perspective, it makes sense. And it, you know, beyond that though, beyond the fact that you save on fees, beyond the fact that you might be able to complete your degree in a shorter time, I think the most important thing is that you're going to be ready to flourish at Berklee because you've already had exposure to Berklee's methods and vocabulary. You've experienced a Berklee style classroom. You're armed with a solid educational foundation that was handcrafted by Berklee alumni themselves with that very, very special GMI vibe that, it's not just something that happens. They have created this. So whether you're looking at Berklee in Boston, in Valencia, Spain, or Berklee Online, or later at Berklee NYC, you are already a part of this massive family through GMI. So Adi, Tarun, Megha, the whole GMI team, congratulations. I cannot wait for this new chapter to take off. You all have worked incredibly hard, and really, I'm so inspired by your commitment to excellence and how you've grown this community and the blessing that all of you are to our fraternity of musicians. And a big, big, massive ups to Jason, from way back in the day for really supporting, because these things, again, don't just happen. It's a decade of work. I'm so delighted to be part of the GMI tribe. And I think most of all, I'm happy to see more and more musicians in India take up the arts as a full-time career, because God knows the world needs more art. So
Definitely.
thank you. And huge ups to all of you. So happy.
Wow, Annette, that just fills my heart. It's such a warm message. Thank you so much for your kind words. Um, Again, I totally second everything that you said, and it just, with the GMI tribe, again, one of the things we say is that it takes a community to build an artist, or, to raise an artist, so to speak. So, I think what we can do is maybe some people might have questions about the GMI-Berklee track, specifically from the academic perspective. So, and the admissions point of view. So, we're going to run a few more very focused sessions with the admissions team at Berklee and our academic teams who can, answer all these questions and take you through detail with everything. But I'll just give an overview with adding on to what has already been said. The essential idea of the Berklee track is that you can start your music education at GMI in India, transfer your credits, and then continue at one of the campuses, uh, Valencia, Spain, the new campus in New York, and Berklee Boston campus, and you could finish your degree at Berklee. So that obviously has many advantages from the financial point of view, and also, as Annette said, just sort of getting you in the headspace, and because suddenly you're in a space where there are like 5,000 musicians and everybody's amazing, and then just being able to deal with that can be quite overwhelming. So just having it as a step by step process can be quite valuable, because I saw that with a lot of my peers at Berklee who had transferred from Berklee Global Partner Schools. They fared really well. And then they had sort of an edge, and a kind of, they were already prepared to sort of excel. So that's the idea. And in terms of the courses, initially you could do a lot of the core courses like the harmony, ear training, arranging, ensembles, and music technology stuff at GMI. And then when you get to Berklee, you can be placed in a higher semester level so that you're doing a lot more of the advanced study at Berklee, and you can take advantage of all the amazing educational opportunities that you have at Berklee. So that's the idea. And as we move forward, we're already in the phase 2 where we're planning to add liberal arts courses, a lot of more other kinds of, like, just sort of spreading this idea so that we can add a lot more credits to this transfer agreement. And then we're just going to keep building on this as we go forward. So that's the essential idea, and the information is available on our website. We've created a Berklee track link where all the other sublinks are available for you. So all the details are there. And then again, credit by credit information of all the courses is also available on the Berklee website for you to see. So please feel free to reach out to us. And I don't want to bore everybody with all this technical information, but I just wanted to give a little bit of an overview. And so please feel free to connect with us, and then we'll take more of these questions in the sessions to follow, which are more academic and admissions related. Now, since we are speaking about the transfer, it's a perfect moment to bring our alumni who we are very, very proud of. Maybe let's start with Dhruv. How are you feeling, Dhruv? Is the coffee kicked in a little bit?
Yeah, it has. And the sun has finally come up. So
Okay.
I'm feeling
So you
good.
feel like it's the day.
And it's so good to see everyone. I'm just like, yeah, it's making me happy.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us, Dhruv. So maybe yeah, let's begin. Let's begin with your journey. How did the inspiration for music begin, and how did GMI come into the picture? You've had multiple associations with GMI, so it'll be great to hear. You know,
It was amazing because I think I met you like about a decade back or so. Because well, Adi and I technically I think you also went to Delhi University, the same college we
right? Yes, yes, yes.
where I graduated out of, and which Aman also graduated out of,
Oh
KMC.
wow,
You.
Kirori
Yeah,
man.
we went there, studying arts, liberal arts, and so I met, after meeting you over there. I remember, I was still figuring out how I wanted to go ahead with my musical journey, and you just come. I think you just come back from Berklee, and I was like, oh, can I just like take some private lessons on like harmony and ear training, and like it might help. First it was like just for music's sake,
Right.
and then I was like, oh, if I go to Berklee, that might help out. And it's been an amazing journey because I was there when I think right when GMI the Lajpat Nagar campus was starting.
Right,
I
right.
helped you guys out with some work there, and then I was studying there with you like privately. I think I did a couple of like a few harmony courses, and then a
Harmony,
few
ear training, yes.
arranging also, and that really helped me out. I think it really, really helped me out at Berklee. Well, firstly, because of again, as Annette was mentioning, it's the community. And, it takes a village, everyone, it helps. And the kind of like community it created, I feel like I was very prepared for my audition when I came, because that helped a lot. I got a scholarship, and that really, I mean, it really enabled it. Otherwise, it probably would not have happened. And then obviously going to Berklee, I was able to place into a higher semester because I could test out of the harmonies and, it's of some ear training, some arranging. And I think a big, important component of that is the fact that, if I feel like if I had gone there a year earlier, I would still be trying to figure out, I'd still be figuring out, how to write letters instead of words. When I went to Berklee, I could instead, so it helped me articulate, what I was doing better, get more out of the Berklee experience. I mean, I very strongly maintain that I could start Berklee now and get a completely different experience. It's that kind of a place that, I mean, it's a pool of knowledge, and you sort of get from it what you put in.
Right, right.
So if you're able to put in a lot, if you are, not trying to figure out just the bare basics when you get there, because there's only a certain amount of time that you have. So the more prepared you are for the journey, the more fruitful it becomes. And I think, I'll be forever grateful and thankful for, what, you could help me out, and, what GMI, helped me out. And obviously then, even more important are the friends and the community you make. Like every time I go back to Delhi, I meet all my, my musician friends, etc. It feels like a nice community just to come back with and that you can collaborate with. So yeah, I will always be very grateful and thankful for it.
Wow, thank you so much. And it was great because, obviously you studied with us and then you started working with us. So you helped us build the initial plans a little bit. And then that time you were preparing for Berklee because, obviously you had a lot of different goals that you were going for. And then you also were part of some of our teaching programs with the city music. And so, yeah, so Dhruv has had, multiple roles at GMI, and it's just amazing to see how well he's done. We're really proud of you, Dhruv. And after Berklee, how was your, like you did you move to LA right after that, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I think I gave my last exam. It was like December 26th or something of 2015, and the next day I was in LA. So it was challenging. I think the first Los Angeles as a city takes a while to figure out because it's
Right.
very with everyone trying. Like there's an artist, composer, actor on every corner. But it took a couple of months for me to find my feet. But I think I've just been lucky, and I got a couple of opportunities right off the bat. And the Berklee connection, I mean, it was so helpful. I mean, Peter Gordon was there, and like, everyone, the entire Berklee family sort of helps you out. It's not the kind of place where it's like a job placement thing, which a lot of us, Indians, we're always like, okay, college done, job placement cell, okay.
Right.
Just in our industry, that it doesn't work like that. But the community sort of helps, because if you're trying to apply to like a gig, or you have friends, the guitar player, the bass player, or you're trying to apply for a composing gig for a TV show, there already be some people from Berklee there, or like a production house, they'll already be there. So that really helped out for me, helped me out in terms of finding my feet here in LA. And yeah, which is pretty good.
Amazing. And then you got to work with Hans Zimmer.
So yeah, I started over there as a composer assistant at Remote Control Productions, Hans Zimmer's thing. And then I was an additional composer there for a while. And then I moved to, then I became, did a freelance thing, I think about a few years into that. And I was working with Facebook on their sound collection, project. There is a Disney show, Indian animation Disney show, Meera World Detective, that I orchestrate for. There are other projects. There's little documentaries I keep doing. There are, additional music on films that I've been doing here. And lately I'm about to finish up a new splice pack. So that's
nice.
I was really into sampling. So I study electronic production design at Berklee, because the Indian in me could not leave technology behind. I was like, oh, some kind of engineering if I do at Berklee, that would be good. But that kind of still worked out. I really got into synthesis and sampling. So there's a new project I'm doing with Splice also. So it's been, I think I've been fortunate and I'm grateful for these opportunities.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Great. Amazing to see all the great work that you're doing, Dhruv. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, Aman, how are you doing, man? How's it going? You're joining us from New
What's
York,
up?
right?
I'm good. I'm at an Airbnb right now, so my Wi-Fi, I can tell they're not paying a lot for the Wi-Fi, so
Okay.
I might get cut off at some point, or it might turn off my video, but sorry about that.
No worries. So yeah, so Aman is again one of our students we're very proud of. I think he was my guitar student at GMI, and he won a full scholarship to go and study at Berklee, which is absolutely amazing. So Aman, maybe you can share a little bit about your experience both at GMI and Berklee.
Yeah, so I think the first experience that I had with GMI was I actually took a couple of private lessons from Dhruv. I don't know if you remember that. This was in 2011, and he doesn't remember it. Well, and then I think I applied at GMI, which was great because my parents had tricked me into believing. I joined GMI was like one of the two schools that had sort of like a curriculum based multiple classes, contemporary music, and it was based curriculum. So that was great because I always wanted to go to Berklee, and now I was getting that education at a fraction of the price. And I think there's a great primer into Berklee. Like, I'm not going to repeat everything that has already been said about the whole community vibe and everything, but it was really helpful to get a head start into some of the core classes like ear training, harmony, because there's so much else can be for Berklee playing like Grand Theft Auto. You can never like finish 100% of the game, so you have to focus on so many different things. And I feel like Berklee offers so much more in terms of workshops and extracurriculars. And fun because I had already done. And then private lessons with Aditya. Of the exercises and stuff, but this was the first time I was actually learning, taking private lessons and applying them in a musical context, especially with ensembles. I had an it was the first time I got to play with horn players in India. That was a big deal. And then just having this, building this repertoire of great tunes and great songs, and working on and everything.
So Aman, I think your network is really glitching out a little bit.
Okay, I can turn off the video if that helps.
Yeah, I think that might. Let's see
if
that.
That's gonna be.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little better, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I think I in 2015 and really took that one gap year and sort of build my portfolio.
Yeah, I think
interview
again,
is actually a huge part of the Berklee audition, and
okay, I think maybe we lost him. Aman, if I'm sorry, I don't know. Technology is
Yeah,
playing.
there must be a cloud over his internet connection.
Yeah. Well, again, Aman, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. No, I think we'll do more of these sessions, right? So
Definitely.
maybe we can have him
wait,
back.
I think I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Okay.
We heard you for a second.
So, okay, where was I? So scholarship thing. Then 16 was when I got the scholarship, and like
he's determined to fight the tech. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think what we'll do, because Aman, your connection's a little wonky, we'll move on. I think one of the things that's been interesting about the connection with GMI specifically, and this is really unique in our partnerships, is that you are working with Berklee alums. You're actively seeking graduates to come and be part of your teaching team. And Eleonora, we've had a long connection, you know, at Berklee from the times of the programs in Italy, through you working at the programs in Italy, and all of the other programming that we've done at Berklee. Then could you talk a little bit about how you connected with this opportunity at GMI, and then, you know, how that sort of his influence expanded, you know, your experience, your background, and with music and what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, everything goes back to 2002 when I got the scholarship at Umbria Jazz Festival. And between 2002 and 2003, I remember that I worked a lot for putting together my documents and all the application form and a lot of things. And Jason, you helped me. I still remember you helped me so much, and I'm so happy that we're still somehow connected and doing things, you know, together for the community, like for keeping the community of musicians and people who desire to build a career with that, you know, still. And well, with Berklee, it was a truly, it was a gift. It changed my life completely. And living this experience at Berklee was like facing to the whole world. in terms of cultural like music, different kinds of music, different kinds of cultures. And I remember that in those years at Berklee, like 2003 and 2004, I had the first connection with the Indian music. I had a wonderful teacher who was Jamie Haddad, percussionist, who introduced me like these Indian rhythms, and he still goes to India back and forth just to keep the connection alive, the music inspiration alive. And so I had a first introduction to Indian music with him, and also to Latin music with Oscar, who I'm very happy I'm still connected with. And then after many years, I went to, after Berklee, I had a short experience in New York, 2.5 years. And then in Ecuador, I had also through Berklee, because there is Esteban Molina in Quito who built it like a Berklee school, like a Berklee partnership. Sorry, my English is not that good, but a Berklee Partner School in Quito. And I was there for 1.5 years with Bob Stoloff. So I learned a lot from that experience. And then I had this wonderful experience last year with Global Music Institute, with Adi and Tarun and Mega and all the community there that is so welcoming and warm and inspiring in the place, the where is located, the energy that you can feel. And I felt that also the desire that I could still, that I could see in the students, and the opening that they had on learning and being inspired was very unique. And that thing really touched my heart, like forever. It's something that happened, stays there. And I think it was very, very special. Especially nowadays that things are so spread and fast and whatever, but it's not whatever at all. I think, nature doesn't change. And when you really desire something, well, you need time and space and dedication, all things offered by Global Music Institute. I think you can breathe it there.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and it's amazing. You're as a global artist. I mean, I look at you and Annette as very, very unique people in the world. There are no boundaries to what you do as artists, as educators. You work seamlessly throughout the world, and it's amazing to follow you online and see what you're doing, performing with all kinds of musicians in all these different genres, and continually doing it at this like incredible level. So thank you for what you both do as being these ambassadors, for artists and musicians and for the Berklee community.
Thank you. Well, I can say definitely that everything happened was thanks to Berklee. Without Berklee, I don't know. I mean, I feel very fortunate and grateful that Berklee really showed me the way. Berklee showed me the way. And it stayed with me still now, after so many years. And that, I think that's the special thing of Berklee and the community that is building around. Amazing.
Yeah, I think it's funny. Our dean of our performance division at Berklee is Ron Savage. And Ron, I think he always says this, and I hang on to it. It's at the point in time when you go to an event that Berklee is doing, whether it's a global partner or with one of our artists or alumni or faculty, it's almost like by default you're a part of that community. At the point where you cross the threshold and you're in the room or you're in the experience, exactly. you sort of you get that you get imbued with that thing that we do, and I think that's what makes what GMI has done so incredible over the years. Maybe this might be a good time, Adi. I don't know. I think, should we open it up for questions?
So what Yes, what's happened is that I think we have a couple of minutes. So let us see. So I think what we decided is that maybe we can take, because we've received quite a few questions. So as we said that we can just do another session where we take all the questions and go in sort of detail with with everything that we've planned out for. So I think that might be a better idea if everybody's all right with that.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure.
Sounds good. So once again, thank you all the speakers for today. I really want to, thank everybody for joining us today, taking out the time. I know everybody's super busy right now. Jason, Eleonora, Annette, Dhruv, Aman, thank you for being with us today. Thanks, Damien, Maria, Matthew, and Kim, for sending your video messages and your warm wishes to us. I think Kim was on the call, so if you're still there, hi Kim. Um, we have quite a few sessions planned. We have the next one is going to be on global Indian musicians, where we're going to talk to some amazing Indian artists who are doing fantastic things. We have another session that we're planning with Ableton. Then we have some guitar specific sessions, and then we have another session which we're doing with Annette, um, which is going to be coming soon in the next couple of months. I also want to thank our team who's worked, tirelessly to make this happen, especially Megha, who's not on the call with us, but all of this was planned by her. All these events, all these ideas. When she brought this to, Jason and I, and we were like, okay, how is this going to happen? But then somehow our team has made this happen, and again with support from Berklee and everybody, this has been a wonderful thing. And I'm just feeling so happy and proud right now.
No, this is this is the legacy. This is what all of you do, and it's why.
I think we lost Jason.
I can
Oh,
see
there
the
he
fins
is.
in the students. Am I back? Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So I just want to say
Yeah,
this
you're
is
back,
this is why I Annette and I and our team show up every day, because we know who that student is that's going to come through the door and connect with you, and what the potential is for their career. So it's super cool. And for all of you that are on the call, all of you that are following on Facebook Live, if you haven't registered yet with GMI or with Berklee to get information, or you're not following us on social media, or you're not following Annette or Eleonora or the other artists that are here, please follow them for two things. One is to just see what they're doing, to understand what their careers are about, but also just to stay in contact and informed about what's happening globally. It's now there's never a better time than now. Do it now. Get plugged in, get connected, start communicating, and start building, your skills and your relationships, and take a really, really serious look at the Berklee Track at GMI. It is a great place for you to make the next step.
Absolutely. I completely agree with Jason. And again, thank you for everybody who's participated today, for all the people who've been on the call. It's lovely to see you all. And if you are a music student who's out there and watching this, now is the time. As Annette said, when we were we were aspiring to learn, we were trying to find a path to build on our skills. Everything that we had to go through, you do not have to. You have multiple options now. And the connection that we've been able to make with our partnership with Berklee enables you to explore that and continue that. So please connect with us, as Jason said, through our web links, reach out to us personally. We are here, and just get connected with the Berklee GMI community, and just follow your dreams, because this is possible. Of course, you will have to work really, really hard, but the teachers, mentors at GMI are there for you. And of course, when you move on to Berklee or any of the campuses that they have, there is a plethora of information, valuable mentors and teachers as well. So please connect with us. And even though this has taken 10 years to build this partnership and where we are at now, this is just the beginning. And I'm so excited for the things that are going to come out of this. So thank you once again. And also stay tuned for all the sessions that are coming up. We're going to take notes of each of your questions and then answer them. So stay connected, and thank you everybody for being a part of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.